Venerable, can you please complete your explanation about the 5 elements of meditation? As far as the world that we are in is in 3 strata, in 3 levels. The first level is the world with desire. We call it kama dhatu. Dhatu means the world in the Sanskrit language. Dhatu is the world. Kama is desires. So the world of desire, we are living in the world of desires. With desire for fame, for reputation, for sex, for eating, for sleeping. We desire all that. We're in the desire realm. And we're at the higher level, then it's called the rupa dhatu. They don't have any more desires. They're in much higher level intelligence, wise beings. They don't need desires. Only the lower level try to satisfy their sensual desires. The higher level, they don't need that. But they still exist as a form. They don't have desire for sleep, for fame, for reputation, for all this material acquisition. They don't have that. But they still have form, a body. And if they go a higher level, it's called arupa dhatu, then they don't have any form anymore. They only have consciousness left. The higher you are, the more happiness you have. The lower you are, the less happiness you have, the more suffering you have. Okay, given that information given to you, the 3 levels of the world, which level we are in, then we know we're in the world of desires. And when we practice meditation, what is meditation? Meditation we call jhana in the Sanskrit language, in the Pali language, and dhyana in the Sanskrit language. Jhana or dhyana is to purify your mind to such a level that you arrive at concentration. You arrive at complete control of your mind. Right now, you and me, we're not in complete control of our mind. Why are we not in complete control of our mind? When you get mad, can you control yourself? You get mad. When you are jealous, can you control yourself? You get jealous. When you're greedy, can you control yourself? You get greedy. You may be able to control yourself when you're conscious. When you're unconscious, you're not able to control yourself. Okay? So, in this level, world of desires, when we practice meditation, then from sitting in meditation, what level do we arrive at if we're at a level of concentration, a meditative level? What is the highest we can get in this kama dhatu, in this world of desires? Is the samadhi laboring on the first dhyana level. The first dhyana level is the level at rupa dhatu. So we're talking about what is the highest meditative state we go when we practice meditation. The highest we can go, practice meditation, the first level in this world is when we eliminate all the desires. I mean, at that level, you don't have any more sensual desires anymore. You get rid of that. Right now, sentient beings are just thinking in a topsy-turvy way. They thought their sensual desire is pleasurable. Satisfaction of the senses is pleasurable. As a matter of fact, it's just a stimulation of the hormones. It's just a satisfaction of your desire that has been pressurizedly built up and set is released because of the hormones. You are the victims of your own hormones, you know. You are trying to purify yourself, getting to a level where you get rid of all your sensual desires. When you get rid of all these sensual desires, then you arrive at a higher and a higher and a higher meditative state. And that state is close to that another level of the world, which is called the first jhana, before you go to the first jhana. All right. The highest meditation we can go in here, what is that meditation? We call it laboring on, the stage of laboring on. When you are at that stage, when you're laboring on, you already have eliminated all your desires. You're in a complete purity. You're asking me about the 5 elements of meditation. There's 5 mental elements you have to work at in order to achieve at that state. That you should know, because what's the purpose of meditation? Your purpose of meditation is to get higher and higher level of tranquility, of peace. What are these 5 mental factors? The first one is applied thinking. The second one is sustained thinking. The third one is rapture. The fourth one is happiness. This kind of happiness is different from general happiness. Happiness, or some people call it joy. Let's call it joy rather than happiness. The fifth is one-pointedness of mind. When you're meditating and meditating every day, as time goes on, you accumulated all this tranquility and accumulated all this good karma in you regarding the tranquility. All these sensual pleasures are not interesting to you anymore. To a common sensual being, ordinary guy, the average guy, sensual pleasures, they're always looking for that. But a meditator want to forsake those things. They treat those things as dirt. It's just like what did the Buddha do? The Buddha was the successor to the throne. And he was a prince. He enjoyed luxuries every day in the palace. All structured by his father king. He wanted the son to see everything that is luxury and enjoyment. So he enjoyed everything a palace can provide him. But is he happy? After enjoying all these things, he thought these things are filthy, these things are garbage. I didn't want to look for something else. He wanted to get away, to go to the forest tradition, to find out more about why am I not happy in the palace every day, enjoying all these luxuries, beautiful, everything is so beautiful. He didn't want it. He thought this is filthy, this is dirt. And he wanted to go away. He couldn't find happiness inside. He couldn't find a joy. He's not happy. So he went into the forest and looked for enlightenment, looked for practice and enlightenment. So it's similar. An average Joe Blow would think that sensual pleasures are good. But the intelligent guy would say, this is not what I want. After satisfying all these things, it's nothing. And the side effects it gives me is terrible. Imagine you strike up an acquaintance with your girlfriend, and then you go on courtship, and it's the most beautiful thing. You have romances, and during your romances, your courtship, you cover up all your shortcomings. You're bald-headed, and you put a wig on, and you have your eyeglass is that thick with short-sightedness. You don't want to wear it. You want contact lenses. You still remember that? You still remember that commercial? I like that commercial. There's a short commercial film from India. I really like it. And the way they show it is a man and a woman. The woman looks beautiful with no glasses, and the man looked very handsome. And they were talking about giving rings to each other in a romantic setting in a restaurant, one of the best restaurants in New York or something like that. And they were looking at each other, exchanging rings. And then the lady said, oh, wait a minute, I got to tell you something. So she took out thick glasses, spectacles, and put on her. This is how I look, not without the glasses. Do you still want me? This is how I look. Very thick. He couldn't see anything beyond 5 feet. And then a man said, yeah, I want to tell you something too. This is how I look. No hair, balded. So during courtship, they cover everything. Let me tell you, wedding is the graveyard of love. The first step towards the graveyard. Because after you're happily married, then you start to have children, and then you start 1, 2, 3, and then you look for kindergarten for them, grade 1, grade 2, grade 3, and you have to pick them up to work. And if you forgot, the kindergarten teacher would stand at the school door and say, can you be early next time? I don't have any overtime pay, you know. Everybody has gone home, and I'm still have to serve on your kid, and you should come pick them up 5 o'clock, now it's 6. I don't have my overtime for 1 hour. And you feel so embarrassed. Everything you do, all your attention will pay to your kids, and sometimes your in-laws. That's the kind of life that you will have. I get lost. What am I getting to? I'm getting to the 5 elements of meditation. So, the 5 elements of meditation. Yeah, in a meditation, what do? Then you have applied thinking, sustained thinking. What is this applied thinking? Applied thinking is you apply your thinking on an object. What is your object that Lee said? The breath. You concentrate, you train your mind, you train mano. Mano is training. You train your mind, and this is my concentration. I breath in, breath out, breath in, breath out, till you have your object of concentration. You apply your thinking, that's applied thinking. This is how you learn your concentration. This is how you want to manage your mano in the right place. And then somehow, when you in and out, you sustain this thing, you apply this thinking, you cannot sustain it. Because the thought goes away. It goes away in every direction, thinking of the past, thinking about the future, thinking about your headlight that hasn't been turned off in the garage, that you couldn't drive home because your battery is out. You're thinking about many other things. Where you have dinner today, did you buy food? You're thinking of many other things, but not your object of concentration, your breath. You're thinking of many other things. You could not sustain your thinking. Sustained thinking is when it goes away, like a monkey. You think you have this is the monkey sitting still, thinking about this breath in and breath out. And then your monkey goes away. And then you put it on leash and you put it back and sitting in here again, stay put. And it goes away again, pull him back, stay put. You sustain all this desultory thoughts going everywhere, put it back, everywhere, put it back. You have to do this practice and training and exercise for many, many years so that your monkey would habitually sit still, so that mano is in the right place and is listening to you. The manager mano is listening to you and doing only good things for you. Giving that you know what is good and what is wrong. That's the reason why before meditation you should know what is morality. Because if you don't have the right morality standard, your mano, even though he's sitting still, could be don't know what is right and what is wrong. So that's a given thing that you have to know. So after applied thinking is sustained thinking. If you can sustain this breath without going away, you know what will happen? The third mental function will come up spontaneously. I don't know if anybody has arrived at that point. What is that mental function? Rapture. All of a sudden you have a joy. There's so much joy in you that you cannot describe that kind of joy. It's beyond description because all of a sudden, this mirror that has been covered up with millions of years of dirt, you slowly can see the mirror. I thought the mirror is a piece of dirt that thick, 5 inches thick of dirt. Now I know that that mirror can reflect in multi-million ways. This mirror is so powerful. I see myself, all of a sudden, I have been living in a room that is without any light. Now I see light. Not only light, because I have light, I peep out of the window, I can see millions of miles away. This joy is unbelievable. That's rapture. You would experience that if mano is in your place for a long time. Have you ever arrived at that point? So somebody, when they come to meditation, they always say, yeah, I've been told to watch my breath. I've been here 10 years. And every time in the sitting, I've been told, watch your breath in and out, in and out. What's next? I mean, this is boring. What is next? Next? Have you got sustained thinking? That means, have you got this under your control? In other words, once you put in meditation, you are in samadhi. You are in complete trance, we call it sometimes, in a meditative state that the monkey won't go around. That means your thought is one, always concentrating. Have you got to that stage yet? If you haven't got to that stage, don't tell me what to do next. You haven't even put your monkey under the leash and put it in control. What else do you want your monkey to do? But if you can put that under control, as I said, the third mental factor is rapture. All of a sudden, you feel that the whole world is all enlightened. The whole world is rapture with joy. I don't know if you have read that book. Maybe this is time I should introduce you. There's a book called Cosmo. It's written by Richard Burke. And he was a doctor, a brain specialist. So he was a doctor in a psychiatric ward in Ontario, the head of a psychiatric hospital. And that was in the early 1980s. That book was written a long time ago. It's a classic of the mind. And one day he was returning home from the hospital and he was driving a wagon. Of course, in the old days, they don't have cars. They have wagons, driving a wagon. And he's always meditating. And all of a sudden, he was driving home. He was in a meditative state. And all of a sudden, the whole world was illuminated with brightness. And at that time, he had the rapture of joy. Like a rapture of joy that it seems that the whole world is illuminated with one brightness, that he's so overwhelmed with the joy. That kind of joy, no money can buy. He wouldn't give that kind of joy to you for $1 billion per hour. He wouldn't give you $1 billion per hour, you won't give that away. He wrote it in his book, in the preface of his book, how he enjoyed that rapture. So that's a rapture. That's a third mental factor. If you carry on this training or meditation, you would have that rapture. What is the fourth one? After rapture, you won't give up. You will continue with this breath. I tell you, just this breath is enough to make you become the Buddha. You don't have to look for anything else. Don't look anymore. You've got it. You've got the mano and you're still looking for mano. You just have to train the mano. You don't need to look for mano anywhere. Don't look for him in an Italian restaurante. Don't look for him in a French restaurant. It's right inside of you. Right inside of you, and you're still looking. Don't look. It's inside. So this manager, you already got the rapture. You continue with meditation on this breath. In and out. And what happened? Your level of trance, your level of meditative state is getting higher and higher and higher until what? You have the complete joy, more than rapture. If I can give you a simile, a rapture is you are a traveler on the desert and you see a mirage. You've been in the desert and you almost died of thirst. You don't have any water. You see a mirage. Oh, I see water in there. All of a sudden you have this rapture of joy because you've been traveling for 10 days and you are 2 days without water. All your lips are dried out, and you will die if you don't have any water. All of a sudden you see water. A mirage of water appeared in front of you, and you have this rapture of joy. Well, you haven't tasted the water yet. You can continue to walk, and you reach that water and you swallow that first mouthful. Oh, that's the joy. Because you experience the joy now. It's not just feeling it, it's just the seeing it. You actually swallow the water inside. That's complete, actual, realistic joy. That's joy. Okay? That's the fourth level. And even this joy to the meditator is not enough. The rapture is not enough. That's why he keeps on walking. Now he has reached a level that even the joy has to be let go. He let go of the applied thinking. He let go of the sustained thinking. He let go even of the rapture. Now, even the joy is redundant. He let go of the joy. If I use the same simile, he got the water. He carried on to that utopia. He wanted to arrive at that utopia. Just drinking the water is not enough. You've got to continue walking until you get to the utopia, the land, the Shangri-La, whatever you want to call it. Shangri-La, that means utopia. The Shangri-La of your journey. You want to get to Shangri-La. It's not just a 6-star. It's a 1,000,000-star hotel waiting for you right there. That's the utopia. And that is, when you get there, how do you get there? One-pointedness of mind. You have nothing else but that one-pointedness of mind. That would get you there. That would get you to that utopia. Don't you want to go to that utopia? Where are you now at? Are you at the rapture of joy? Raise your hand. Are you at joy? Raise your hand. Oh, you had the rapture of joy. Good for you. You were at the joy. And have you been to Utopia? Let me tell you, Utopia is not the final destination. Utopia is still a form. It's a location that you go to. Anything that has a form is still suffering. You have to go beyond form. You have to go beyond utopia. Last week you mentioned you like to be challenged and you like questions. When listening to the lectures, there is so much knowledge that is presented. Some of us need to think about things for a while. There are many questions and yet no questions. Very much enjoying the new lectures on Prajnaparamita. Yeah, I enjoy it too. That's why I keep on talking. You see, sometimes I ask myself a question. Do I enjoy it more than the listeners? I don't know. I think I learn more than the listeners. Sometimes it's things that I'm teaching myself and not my listeners. Because every time when I talk about it, I learn more. You are my teacher, not me. I always say, these listeners are my teachers. I'm not the teacher. You are the teachers because you force me to think. Last question. In today's lecture, we talk about ego. In regards to this topic, my question is, in order to achieve the Nirvana state, is it necessary to have all our ego? In order to arrive at the Nirvana stage, if you still have the ego, you can never get there. If you still attach to the utopia, you can only stay at the utopia. That utopia is a non-polluted ego, but it's still an ego. It's still an ego. Whenever you're an ego, it's not a utopia, it's not the Nirvana. But you can ask the question, if I don't have an ego, who am I? What do I have? What's my identity in order to be there? The traveler said, now that I arrive at the utopia, who am I? I'm a traveler. Who am I? The traveler said, I'm John. I'm John, and I have a body and a mind. But the Buddha said, you're not John. John is just your name. You're a combination of body and mind. You're not John. John is just your name. John is not the real you. Your body is not your real body. Your mind is not your real mind. So who am I? Do I have an identity? If you still maintain that ego, you still have that ego. You have to go beyond ego. If you go beyond ego, how come you still have to ask the question? Maybe I should more or less end up this by telling you a story, a Zen story. And I don't know if I can have impromptu translation of that Zen story. Yes, maybe I can. There's a conversation between a novice monk and a very experienced monk who has more or less got enlightenment. The novice monk said, Venerable, how do I practice? And then the enlightened monk said, live at the present moment. It's right in front of you. You've got it right in front of you. You've got it already. Don't ask. You've got it. Live the present moment. You've got it. But if you have an ego, you don't have it. That's what the experienced monk said. And then a novice monk said, Venerable sir, do you have an ego? And then the monk said, if I have the ego, I don't see the truth. If I have the ego, if I have I and you, I don't see the truth. So the novice monk said, if I don't have the I and you and the ego, then is it enlightenment? And then the enlightened monk said, if you don't have the I and the ego, who is getting the enlightenment? You don't need the I and ego, but if you don't have the I and ego, who is getting the enlightenment? I don't think about it. I don't know if I confuse you or I confuse myself. There's another part of this question. People project happiness in meditation and they are able to take advantage of you if you do not. Oh, in other words, what it means is, if you don't have an ego, if you don't have a self, people will take advantage of you. Hey, you don't have an ego, slap. You don't have an ego. Well, I don't have any money. Since you don't have any ego, can you give me your wallet? I need $50. You don't have an ego, so can you give me? So if you don't have an ego, people will take advantage of you. If you don't have an ego, I think your intelligence is not whether you will be taken advantage of or not. Your wisdom goes beyond that. Your wisdom won't concern about being taken advantage of or not. Only when you have an ego, you are thinking about whether you lost it and you gain it. Yeah. Am I clear? Yeah. Yes? Yeah. Nail it on the head. Okay, that's it for today.